Yeah. Tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the MKO pugilism boxing channel, talking all things boxing. Right about now, we're going to speak about the case of Dillian Whyte, because there's been a lot of different things being said about Dillian Whyte right now, about his status, his standing, the WBC, everything, you know. So right about now, we're going to speak on Dillian Whyte, and there's been some interesting things said by different people on Dillian Whyte. So first of all, I want to speak about what Frank Warren has actually said. You know, now Frank Warren has said on social media, you know, that you can see why Dillian Whyte is now upset. You know, he said that he doesn't feel that Dillian Whyte, in other words, doesn't feel that he's been looked after. You know, he said that if Dillian was with him, if Dillian Whyte was a Frank Warren fighter, that he would have already fought for a world title by now. You know, he cites the example of Tyson Fury. He said, look, Fury was with me for 6 months, and the first 6 months Fury was with me, I got Tyson Fury, the Deontay Wilder fight. We kept Tyson Fury nice and active, and then we got him the Wilder fight. So he's crediting himself for the Pianeta fight and all, you know, the other dude, Zephyr Seferi, the guy, one of those guys that Tyson Fury lifted up, and then he jumped straight into the Wilder fight. Yeah, interesting words there from Frank Warren. You know, myself personally, I'm not too sure whether, you know, he would have been able to get him over the line as quickly as he said. This 6 month period, I think that's quite ambitious. Maybe he would have, maybe he wouldn't have, because I think it's not even to do with necessarily. It's not all to do with promotions. It's that, you know, the other fighters gotta want it. So in that case, Wilder would have to want to face Dillian Whyte. You know, Dillian Whyte, one thing about him, you know, he's a tough guy. He's a very serious guy, and he's a fight anybody sort of guy. One flaw that people like to pick on with him is the fact that he did have the opportunity for a title fight, and you know, no one can sort of deny that with Anthony Joshua. But when it came to that fight, what Whyte said is that he didn't like the deal. He didn't approve of the deal. In other words, I guess it might be similar to the deal that I talked about with the Joshua Fury, where it's like you only get certain percentage going in. So maybe he was offered a low percentage, a 30% or whatever it was. But regardless of that, when it came to the Joshua fight, he wasn't happy with the terms. He wasn't happy with the deal. And apparently, even if he was to have beaten Joshua, he would have still got the short end of the stick in the rematch. Now, you know, you can make it out what you will, really. Some will say, well, if you can beat him, just beat him and just take the short end of the stick. Eventually, you know, if you beat him twice, then you're gonna be much richer for it, and you're gonna create a legacy from it and whatever. So yeah, there's a point to that, but you know, at the end of the day, Dillian Whyte, he's got his principles, and you know, for some reason with the Joshua one, he wasn't happy with the terms. He didn't take it. Fair enough. That's your right. If you don't like a contract, you don't like a deal, then don't take it. Fair enough. That's up to you. And also lately, what I've been noticing is Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury, he's been speaking very dismissively of Dillian Whyte. He's been making statements about, I don't need to give him a shot. You know, he's been calling Whyte, you know, this plodder, this short plodder who's got no power. You know, again, he's been taking these little digs at Dillian Whyte. And to be fair, Dillian Whyte has also taken his digs because Dillian Whyte has said several times in several different interviews that he's actually dropped Fury numerous times in sparring. And, you know, Dillian Whyte is a guy that even the Fury family, I think Peter Fury, you know, said at some time past that we wouldn't fight Dillian Whyte because Dillian Whyte is a friend. So they've Fury and Whyte, you know, they know each other. They've sparred together several times. They've worked and they've trained together. So they do know each other. And I think, you know, that might be is one of them ones where I think Fury might be taking his digs, because obviously Whyte has said, look, you know, Tyson Fury talk nonsense, talk rubbish about me, so I'm going to tell the truth how I lick him down and knock him down in sparring. And, you know, Fury's made statements to Queensberry, which is, of course, Frank Warren's promotions. And, you know, there was this thing on Instagram from the site saying that, you know, oh, I'll give Whyte his chance when his time comes, but his time is not here yet. You know, I'll put him in his place when it's his time. But Fury was very dismissive of Whyte, talking about, let him worry about Povetkin, Daniel Dubois, and Joe Joyce before he starts worrying about me. And in other words, to me, it seems like Fury is kind of belittling Whyte by saying such things, because obviously we know Dubois and Joyce, good as they are, they're both guys that are prospects, you know, whereas Dillian Whyte is ahead of them. You know, Dillian Whyte is a proven commodity at world level. So Dillian Whyte is just, you know, slightly, he just hasn't had that world title shot yet. Just put it that way. You know, he's just on the cusp of getting a world title shot. But, you know, Fury, it seems to be very dismissive of him at the moment. He said in times past that he would fight Dillian Whyte. He'd give him a shot if he won, but right now he's being very, very dismissive, saying he doesn't need Whyte. You know, Whyte can wait until forever. You know, pretty similar to what Deontay Wilder was saying, that, you know, he could freeze Dillian Whyte out for a few years. And Fury, he seems to be on the same vibe, really. He's not really into giving Dillian Whyte the shot, which is you know, but I suppose overall it's not even for Fury to say, is it? It's the governing body to sort of demand that the title has to be defended. And, you know, depending on Wilder's injury, there's a lot of sort of things there that have to be worked out. And an interesting thing is that even one of Fury's promoters, Bob Arum, has also been very dismissive of mandatory challengers. You know, he basically called Dillian Whyte a nobody. You know, Bob Arum came out and said in an interview that, listen, Dillian Whyte is no different from Otto Wallin, or you know, who Tyson Fury fought. He said no one would be interested in Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury. It would be the same as if he fought Otto Wallin, because Dillian Whyte is basically a nobody in America. This is what Bob Arum was saying. And in a certain sense, yeah, when it comes to America, yeah, perhaps Dillian Whyte is not as, he wouldn't be well known by the general public. I think I'd go with him there in terms of the general public. You know, most people probably wouldn't know him, but then if you talk to boxing fans, they would know him. But I suppose because boxing fans is like a small niche, a small sort of part of the population, yeah, you could say, right, maybe he wouldn't be that well known over there. But a counter argument that someone made, and I can't remember which blog it was on, but there was another boxing blogger who made the point that, listen, yeah, perhaps in America, Dillian Whyte wouldn't be well known and it might not be a big draw. But if you were to put Fury versus Whyte on in an arena over here or a stadium over here, you know, you could fill up an arena, because when it comes to England, when it comes to over here, Dillian Whyte is a popular figure, is a very well-known fighter, and he's a guy that the general public, you know, a lot of them will know. He's even been on shows like MasterChef and stuff like that, you know, or the bakery show, or whatever. One of these cookery programs Dillian Whyte's even been on. So his profile is pretty good over here. So if he was to box Fury over here, then the argument that Bob Arum said goes away, because it's very marketable over here for him to fight. And yeah, so I mean, another thing about Whyte, there's big news now that Dillian Whyte is now officially taking legal action against the WBC due to the fact that he's been having to wait, you know, it's about 950 days or something. So you're coming up not far off of 1,000 days of waiting for his title shot. And there's been people who have sort of jumped in front of him. You've had guys like, you know, you could even argue, how did Bermane Stiverne get the Wilder rematch? You know, guys like Stiverne, guys like, I don't know, guys like, who's the other one? Even Fury, he'd sort of jumped the queue for it, good as he is. You know, guys like Dominic Brazil and that, they all sort of got the shot before Dillian Whyte, when Dillian Whyte definitely deserved it. So he's officially taking legal action. I believe that's going to be an uphill battle. I think he does have a case, but I think that's going to be very time consuming and that's going to be very tough. But I suppose in his case, that might be the only way to sort of guarantee a shot at one of these titles, is to go the legal route, because, you know, he's been marginalized and he's been put to the side. The champions have sort of been given favors and stuff, and, you know, so he's a guy that has been mistreated by the organization. So he's got his right now to go the legal route. But it'll be interesting to see what this actually means for his boxing career. You know, does he turn away from the WBC and go to another route or something, or, you know, whatever? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I do wish him all the best, and I hope he does get his title shot at some point, because he certainly does deserve it. But anyway, that's it for this one. Till next time, MKO Pugilism over and out. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel.